Welcome to the Homestead Podcast. You are joining co-hosts Carol and Jamie of twogalshomesteading.com. If you found yourself here, that means you are ready to take responsibility for what you eat, your family's health, and your family's well-being while living a simpler life. You can do this and have fun, saving money along the way. Let them help you unleash the homesteader within. By doing more with less, you will gain what is needed to create confidence, impact, and change in your life and the lives around you. Let's start homesteading. Let's start now.
Hello, Jamie.
Hey, Carol.
Well, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Today is a special episode. We have a guest here today.
Yes.
We have brought in our number one fan, Kelsey. I coerced her into coming in here and doing a little chit chat with us about her homestead and what she has all accomplished. Now, Kelsey is young enough to be my child. She's actually the same age as one of my kids, my son.
Yeah.
I think she's an old soul. She knows a lot. I've actually learned a few things from her. She shares a lot with me. Let's bring her in here. Her homestead is DF Farmstead.
Yep.
If I've got that correct. So
you did.
Welcome, Kelsey.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You want to tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, I'm young enough to be your child. This has kind of always been a dream of mine. My husband, Dustin, and I met when I was 15, just kind of gone from there. We have 3 kids, small homestead in central Minnesota, cow, goat, as many chickens as you can count on all your appendages, ducks, everything you can think of. And that's kind of what we do.
I have told you this before, but I want to be Kelsey when I grow up.
No, I don't. She does too much for me. I like going. I'm too old for that.
Yeah, you're in town.
I'm in town.
She's a country girl. Kelsey and I have a lot in common. It's just that she has 1 cow and 1 goat, where I have 17 cows. And of course, Madison has a herd of goats type thing. So we're just bigger than she is. So I thought we could bring her in and maybe she could talk to us a little bit about how she does things as a single cow owner or whatever, having a homestead cow or having a family cow.
Family cow.
Let me ask you this first. How did you come to decide you wanted to have a cow?
Well, besides like always wanting a cow, what child doesn't want a cow as a pet? That's always been a dream. I got sick and tired of searching for a raw milk source or somebody close enough that would sell us milk and I didn't have to drive, 2 hours round trip. Then it really got serious when the most local farmer near us sold all their cows. So then we had to find,
a new source
the next
or
source.
something.
And
Yes.
It was really around that time when I was joking with my husband. I said, maybe it's time we get a cow sooner rather than later. And he wasn't necessarily on board, but he wasn't against it. And those saying, happy wife, happy life. And that's how we have Poppy. So it was more or less just making those final decisions, finishing up the pasture. And are we really ready for this adventure? No, nobody's ever really ready.
So how long were you on your farm before you...
We moved in 2016.
Okay, so you've been there for a few years.
Yeah. So we had chickens in 18, and it just spiraled from there.
You know what they say about chickens?
That's the starter.
Yeah,
the
they
starter
are.
animal.
Yeah, they are the starter animal. They
Yep.
They have a tendency to get you into.
Started with 6. I think we have 60.
You don't count your chickens. You don't count your chickens. That's just a rule.
Chicken math I've heard
chicken math. Yep.
That's exactly it. When we purchased our raw milk, we were using it obviously to make cheese and butter and obviously use it for everything else. But now it just, this day and age, I feel like we need to have our closed sources. Okay. Close to home, you can get it close to home from a farmer. we didn't want to have to depend on anybody else anymore.
And
So-
you were traveling quite a ways to get your milk, is my understanding,
So
right?
we were driving an hour round trip. When they sold their cows, we had to go 2 hours round trip. And so it got to be a lot. And so really, are we recouping those costs from having our own cow? Not necessarily, but we're that raw source for other people, raw milk source for other people too. On top of our stuff, we are offering our community the access to raw milk that they don't have anymore because the other farms shut down. So I don't know. It was just something we felt we needed to do.
When we started with goats. I had the opportunity to trade some goats for a cow, and we just liked cow milk better. We always drank raw cow milk. We've done that since 2005. I just was like, if I'm going to milk an animal and we don't really like the goat milk, we might as well get a cow. And so that's what we had. That's how we got started with cows.
So we have the goat. She helps with the products on our farm. So the soap, that kind of stuff. The kids will only eat goat milk yogurt. They will not eat cow milk yogurt. So she is our yogurt source. And actually one of our kids actually prefers the goat milk over the cow milk, but she'll drink it. We will always have both sources, but however, I'm partial to cows.
I know cows kind of grow on you, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
Yep.
They really do. Oh, what else do we want to ask her? I do know because Kelsey and I do talk on a regular basis.
Daily. Come on, be honest.
Well, okay.
There's sometimes it goes a day between.
Yeah,
and then it's
right.
like, I don't
Okay,
know.
it's always like,
I got to check in, make sure
Carol,
she's okay.
Do you get anything done? Because if you're talking to her you talk to me that much. It's like, do you get anything done?
Yes, I do. Although I'm not as ambitious as
No,
Kelsey
she's
is.
really, I can tell she's much younger than we are.
Yeah.
Like, oh, to have that energy.
Yes.
I don't
But-
feel that way some days.
But you with your cow, you honestly use her
All
milk
of it.
for just about everything dairy related besides ice cream. So you make your own cheese. You don't depend on the grocery store any longer for
Nope.
sour cream or any of
Nope.
that stuff. And you've told me many times you don't have a cream separator. You just ladle it off.
So
the
we just
top.
ladle it off. Yep. I use a 1 cup measuring cup and I scoop it in.
Yeah, and it
Old-fashioned
works.
way.
Yep, and so you don't need fancy equipment.
You don't need it. No.
Yeah.
Would it be nice?
And-
Absolutely.
And
However,
you tried milking with a machine.
I did. I do not like it.
You don't like
So
it.
you milk by hand.
do.
Oh, good hand dexterity.
Yeah, I couldn't do
It's
that
not
anymore.
that it's not that I didn't like it. It was more of the process because I don't have a parlor. So I'm dragging all the equipment and the washing and the sanitizing and the cleaning up. It really takes longer to do that than it does to wash a bucket and wash the cow. So I don't know. And the one-on-one time with her, I mean, you can't get that back.
Yeah, that's very
Hooking
true.
up a machine and I mean,
I was gonna say,
it's-
and you've got a cow who really loves you.
yeah.
Yeah, you've got a cow. You got an ideal cow for you. You really did. You got the perfect cow. That doesn't always happen.
No.
But you really got yourself.
Obviously, there were hiccups in the beginning.
Oh, of course,
very-
there always is going to be.
Big hiccups. But I mean, she literally calved right in the middle of the field there, and I was able to go right from calving to milking colostrum for Ruthie. And I don't think most people would be able to just go for it. I mean, I had her, what did we have her for? 2.5 weeks? 3 weeks, maybe?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. Okay, if you don't know,
month.
Kelsey actually bought a cow from me.
Yeah.
Poppy was my cow, and you bought her as a bred cow, so she was dry, and she was. Yeah, I don't remember when you.
I think 3 weeks.
Was it? I know it wasn't terribly long. I don't
No.
remember how long, but it was. She was already dry and ready to calve, and so you took her and took that time to get to know her, and she completely trusted you.
And the only reason I had to milk colostrum was because Ruthie wasn't getting up, wasn't nursing. So I had to
And
act.
Ruthie's the calf.
Yeah,
not
Ruthie's
one of your
the
kids.
Yep. I don't know. I was just from right there, just kind of, there's a bond.
Had you ever milked before this?
Technically, yes. I did go to school to be a vet tech, and part of our production class was to go through a whole process of milking. I had to glove up and preg check. I had to do all that. So,
So you had an inkling.
mastitis test. I mean, I had to actively milk something, but not for the duration of the 15, 20 minutes that it takes to milk currently. And prior to that, it was the goat.
Oh, okay.
Technically, but it's all different.
You had an inkling then.
Once you figured it out, it kind of just worked out.
Yeah, it just works out. And if you've got a really good
cow.
if you got a good cow and so that always makes the whole process so much easier. She's really good mama too, almost
She's
too good of a mama
very
for
good.
you, where she didn't want to stop nursing her baby and will nurse just about
Through everything.
Yep.
She let her nurse through a weaning ring, which cut her up. And I mean, through a fence. She's diehard, which is good and bad, I
and
guess.
she happens to be a purebred Jersey.
Yep.
And they have
Very
a
motherly.
tendency to be like that. So, okay. Now let's go back and talk a little bit about what you all make and how you utilize Poppy's milk.
We use it anywhere from creamer for my coffee to cottage cheese. I mean, every dairy product you can think of on the store shelf is in our refrigerator. Butter from the cream. I'll make mozzarella, Colby, cheddar, Asiago, Gouda, sour cream, cream cheese, cottage cheese. I mean, name it. We can figure it out.
I think we need a course here.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's
It's other people's recipes, so I haven't developed them, but they are tried and true.
But it's still
Trial
a
and
knack.
error.
I mean, we've played. Yeah. And there's a knack to it.
Yep, I agree. Like my cream cheese never turns out the same because the cream is never the same consistency. Like your guys' cream can be set through the cream separator.
yeah.
Mine is always either super heavy or so watery because it's
Depending
the
on-
time of day or how long it's sat in the refrigerator or something like that.
Or what the cow's eating.
Yes, what the cow's eating. I've noticed this winter it's gotten a lot more light cream because obviously she's not on pasture. It's alfalfa and grass hay. So it's still heavy compared to milk.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the milk changes with the season, with how far they are in their lactation.
Absolutely. Well, and she's 6 months into
She's
it.
6 months in. So after about 9 months now, I know she's not bred back yet.
Yep.
She's still an open cow, which means that the cow is not carrying a calf right now. As they get towards the end of their lactation, lots of times you get a lot more cream. So
And that's kind of what we're noticing now. She gives us what we like to call half and half. So half
And that's
milk,
not such a bad
no,
thing.
it's not. But if you want to make cheese, you need milk instead of cream.
yeah.
So, but like you said before, ice cream is the only thing we don't make. And that's because I haven't been able to find a suitable ice cream machine. That's just the one that I tried.
Yeah.
And
So for the non-dairy farmer person here, you breed Poppy back. How long can you milk? Because I know you milk while they're pregnant and stuff. So how long do you milk that? So you're going to have a period where you're going to have a period where you're not going to have any milk production.
and that's where Carol comes back in.
I mean, so are we getting another cow?
I think we are. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh no, this is chicken math
there's-
coming
So
into cow
that's,
math.
yeah, right. That's kind of why we're holding off on breeding her. I want to time it to where
You have
it
a
will
cow.
overlap.
So you'll have a cow, a second cow, your second
Yeah.
cow.
But if we can't decide or we can't figure out the right one, we'll probably end up AIing her, having an AI tech come in, just going with it. I mean, I don't want to hold off too long, obviously for the health of her. And I mean, I can deal with not having milk for a couple months, but
Yeah, they're usually only dry for about 2
2
months.
months.
Oh, okay.
That's,
because it's a 9 months, they're like
they're,
humans.
yep, they're just
9
like
months.
humans. It's a 9-month pregnancy, and you usually want them dried off by about 7 months gestation. So they've got those last 2 months to
Put it into
prepare
the
for the
baby.
calf and give it to the baby. And milking can take a lot out of a cow. It depends on your cow and if she's a super heavy producer or not. I think Poppy does about what
she does about 1.5 gallons twice a day. When Ruthie was fresh, when Poppy first had her, it was 2 gallons twice a day. But then Ruthie started taking it all, and at that point, I couldn't milk. So there was probably a 3-week period where I didn't get any milk, but maybe enough for my coffee. Yeah, it was a little frustrating. The one time we had to buy milk from you. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah.
So now you're traveling an hour again to get your milk.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she come down here to pick up
Norman.
Our
Norman.
steer. Yep. She bought a steer from us so that when she took Ruthie away from Poppy, so that Ruthie wouldn't be alone.
Oh, that's
And
right. I
so-
remember this
yep.
story.
And so she come down, and when she come down, she's like, would it be weird considering I own a dairy cow if I could buy
That's
some
currently
milk?
in milk.
I could buy some milk and cream from you.
Oh my gosh. I'm hoping that we can make it work and everything will overlap right. But in the next few months, if we haven't made a decision and if we haven't sold Ruthie, then
That's kind of your
that's our
thing is you got
So I would say by her February cycle, if she hasn't, I think we'll probably bring an AI tech in. And there's one down the couple miles from us.
Oh, that's handy for
It's like a
you.
huge Northern genetics company that does all that stuff.
Okay, so that makes it very convenient because I know that's a problem for a lot of small homesteads that only have a cow. It's not worth having a bull around. It's not even cost effective. But then to find someone who can actually AI your cow is also an issue. And if you don't want to keep a bull and you want them bred by a bull, then you got to haul your cow
Well, and
away.
that's where we were gonna-
And then who's going to milk your cow and keep your cow in milk while she's being bred? And so we did discuss at one time of possibly her bringing Poppy back here because I can continue to milk Poppy. You're also an hour and a half from us.
I know.
And you're without a cow for that time that she's here.
which is all, pros and cons. Come on.
So there's a lot of thought that goes into, cow ownership, and, you homeschool your children and you're a stay-at-home mom. Your husband works on the road. For you, it's not so bad because you're home anyway. But, having a cow is a commitment. It doesn't matter. Cows don't take days off. You don't have weekends off. You
Right.
don't have holidays off. You don't have time during a snowstorm just to not milk the cow. So you have to be there.
You have to go by the cow schedule. You
Yeah.
do.
And so it is definitely a huge commitment to bring
Kara,
a
I
cow.
thought a dog was a lot of work.
So somebody's got to milk the cow,
Yeah, yeah.
whether it's the calf, a human, or
When
the
you're
neighbor.
sick,
We
you
have
know?
a few people around that have offered, if we ever needed to be somewhere or whatever, just let them know. They grew up on farms and stuff like that. So, we have options, but it's hard.
Are you like me?
Yeah.
Nobody
like
can
you.
milk my cows as well as I can.
No.
I know.
And you always wonder if it's going to be done right.
Yep.
Or,
It's like having another kid, isn't it?
Well,
It
and then
really
it's
is.
like, the person coming in to milk, is Poppy going to like the person that's milking her? Yeah, that affects.
exactly.
Yes.
Because I know my daughter worked on a dairy farm when she was a teenager. And I knew for me to go in and see her on the farm, that would affect the cows. And so I didn't do it, even though that's where I used to buy my milk.
Yep. It's insane. Even sometimes when the kids are out playing while I'm milking, she's sometimes off. So it's like, guys, got to go a little further away or something like that. Or if the dogs are barking, she's sometimes off because she's used to your dogs in the aspect of the herding, like rounding them up. Our dogs are livestock guard dogs. So they're with them all the time. And so sometimes, most of the time, she butts them around. But it's if they bark, she's off. She's still learning that.
Oh, so you've only had her
6 months. Yep.
7 months. So I don't know. I think she worked out really well for your situation.
Yep, I agree. She crossed our T's and dotted our I's, and we went with her.
So if you were to give someone advice who was looking to possibly add a cow to their homestead, what would you tell them, or what piece of advice would you give them? Maybe now that you've had a cow and you're like, oh, I would have done this differently, or I don't know. I know you think she's perfect, but
Well, no, a cow isn't a dog. If you haven't been around any sort of animal, hooved animal, do that first. Doesn't matter. Like you said earlier, have a stepping stone animal. You need to understand livestock before you can understand a cow. It's really important to not just jump into it. I feel like a lot of people do that, and then that's where the problems come in. They don't know how to handle. They don't have large vets. They don't have the means to take care of them if something goes wrong. And then they're looking for help through Facebook groups, and they're trying to call every single vet you can think of in the area, and they don't take new clients. And that was the one thing we did. We made sure our vet was taking new livestock animals and would be able to answer a call at 2 a.m. if something were to be going wrong. We did our due diligence prior to bringing her home.
I think that's a really important thing, is to make sure you had, and you kind of had a checklist of when you're going to get a cow, this is what you were looking for, and where you were going to get it from, or you had some criteria, a list.
Well, getting it from wasn't a huge one, but that was still a determination factor because we didn't want to drive 6 hours round trip to bring a cow home. So it was within, Minnesota. That's what I wanted to stick to. I had my checklist, and that's what I was sticking to. If there wasn't anything that was not being marked off, we moved to the next one.
Yep.
And we did have a cow picked out prior to you. And I had what Dustin likes to call a mental breakdown, and we backed out of the whole cow thing completely. Then I, on a whim, did a search on a Facebook page and found you guys. And
We had talked about this a month or so ago. It's like, how did she find you? So now we have the answer.
Well, one of my criteria was an unvaccinated cow, for the simple fact that I didn't want some of those vaccines possibly in our milk because we were drinking the raw milk. You can take that for what it's worth. You have a vaccinated cow, great, but we didn't want a vaccinated cow. Our vet agrees with us that probably the best for a raw milk source. And so I typed in unvaccinated, which is probably not the greatest thing to search for on a Facebook group, but it came up with something you had commented on, saying that you were in Minnesota and you had a herd of unvaccinated Jersey cows. That's
unvaccinated in Jersey and Minnesota. Those were 3 things on your list.
And either bred or freshly calved was another one. I think that was it. She also had to be younger. I didn't want an older cow to start out with. And that's where it went. I sent you a message, and I think I actually got Rich, and then he patched me into you.
Okay.
And then
could have been.
That's where it went.
And that's how we met.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever talked to Kelsey.
Oh, we've talked about her though.
Yeah. Well, I probably have talked to her through you.
Probably. Yeah. Cause I'm like, oh, Kelsey sent me this recipe.
Yeah. or she was sick. She was sick a week or so ago. And she's like, Kelsey's really sick. What should she do next?
Yeah.
More
Worst
ideas.
case scenario.
more ideas. And I'm like, okay, have she done this?
Let's see. Anything else? Any other advice you would have for someone? I've always told people, if you don't have a lot of cow experience, get yourself a cow, an experienced cow.
That's what you said. I wanted a heifer that we could raise, and you talked me out of that. Then you came up with Petal. Petal was the first one. And then a couple weeks later, you're like, what about Poppy? And I'm like, I don't know. What about Poppy? So Poppy's story kind of resonated with me because she lost her first calf. So in my mind, she, to me, kind of seemed like a heifer. She didn't get to raise her calf. She, and you only milked her for a little bit. So she wasn't super experienced. So I was kind of excited to be able to train her. I mean, does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, because I think
it wasn't.
Yeah, I think I only milked her for a couple of months. She calved and she lost her calf. Her calf was term, if I remember correctly. The baby.
You said he was a big bull calf.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't remember exactly.
I think that's what it was.
I have a lot of cows, so stuff. But whatever I told you, yeah, I think he was large, and I think she struggled. So we milked her for a couple months, and she just got so terribly thin for us that I decided it was best for her health to dry her off and let her just rest and rebreed her. And we'll just try again next time, because I did have her mother in my herd. She was a wonderful cow. We lost her this summer, but that makes me cry. But that makes me sad. She was one of my favorite cows. But anyway, I just thought Poppy would be a really good cow eventually. She just needed a
And
year off.
eventually came quicker than
Yes, it
You
did.
thought.
It did. But she was just an extremely friendly cow,
Mm-hmm.
even though.
and you bottle fed her, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So
she
she's
was-
definitely a bottle.
Yeah,
a bottle.
she's a bottle calf.
Yep.
Yes, you can definitely tell, or usually you can. I mean, most of my cows are bottle calves at one time, and,
Right.
But some of them are just friendlier than others. You know, each
Yep.
cow has a personality. But Poppy was always like coming over to a person. But we also talked about Misty.
Yes. And Misty was on our radar in the beginning, but out of our price range. Oh, that was another checklist item, was the price range.
Price.
Yep. And so Misty was out of that price range.
Yep, she was out of that price range. And when we had you come out with your family, we had decided on like 3 different cows for you to come and meet, and we wanted to see how the cows reacted to your young kids, because I do not have young kids here. I don't have grandchildren. My youngest is 24. And so we thought maybe it'd be a good idea to introduce the cows to little kids and just see how they reacted.
Yep.
And Petal was like, nope.
See you later.
See you later. She was gone. She was just like, I don't know what these little humans are.
Yeah,
I
and
don't-
our kids are good around animals. They've been around horses. They've been, I mean, obviously, so they know not to like run after a big animal.
But yeah,
and
she
so-
was just like, nope.
Yep.
It was kind of funny,
It was.
actually. We're like, okay.
because
well.
that's who we kind of were decided on, like just from our conversations and
Yeah, and
stuff like that.
she's an
So-
absolutely lovely cow.
Yep.
Petal is a lovely cow. She's milking. She's in her second lactation now, and she's milking beautifully for me. So then it was kind of down to Misty and Poppy, and you did have I always wanted a Jersey. You had talked about that too. and I
because
was
Misty's
like,
not.
Misty is
Yep.
only part Jersey. She's
Yep.
not a purebred, and Poppy was. And
Yep.
so you went home and thought
Just
about it
that-
for a while.
I can go back how many ever years is one day I'll have a Jersey, and everyone's like, well, why? Well, I don't know. The one thing that struck me as I guess homesteader is the high butter fat, high milk fat milk. It's perfect, and
And
you
they
can't
do
get
tend
that
to,
from everything else.
yeah, they do tend to do fairly well on grass or hay, type
Yep.
thing. They don't necessarily need grain. Not that, I mean, my
Yep.
herd is pretty much grass fed out here.
Yep.
We feed very, very little grain, if any grain at all. This winter they're strictly grass fed. And so that helps with the feed bill.
Yes.
A little bit.
Poppy does get a little bit of grain.
Yeah, you said you have to distract her.
I have to distract her. Otherwise, she follows me around like a lost child. And so she gets a little bit of grain in the morning and then a little bit of grain in the evening. Not as much as a normal cow. She does. That just kind of works with us.
Well, and it's probably more like a treat for her
It
than
is.
anything else.
She'll stand at the gate and wait for it. And if I'm 5 minutes late, she moves.
Oh, that's
Like, Mom,
Yes,
Mom.
yeah, excuse me.
Exactly.
I think we're going to take a quick break here to hear from our friends from PicoSupply.com.
Family-owned PeteCoSupply.com brings small-town customer service to their online farm store. PeteCoSupply.com specializes in automatic waterers from top brands such as Miraco, Jug, Franklin, Trojan, and Ritchie, as well as other products for your operation. Find your farm supplies and automatic waterers at PeteCoSupply.com. That's PeteCo Supply.com. PeteCo Supply.
And we're back. Let me ask you this. What do you think is your biggest challenge that you've had so far having a homestead cow or a family cow?
A lot of it, I would say, has to do with rearranging our lives because a cow's schedule is now your schedule. You need to figure out when you're going to eat dinner, when you're going to get your dinner done, because she needs to be milked at the same time every day. It's hard. A lot of people think I'm crazy because my husband does travel and I handle everything. That's really not it because I can handle that stuff. It's I need to be home at 4:00 to get everything ready and milk at 4:30.
Okay.
So I think that's the most difficult, managing my time, which I've always been terrible at.
But you're a planner.
I am a planner.
You are a planner,
Yep.
but that's
I'm a terrible time manager. Yeah.
No,
Doesn't
you have-
make any
You have
sense.
kids too. I mean,
So somewhere in there you have to homeschool yet too. And which I guess probably makes you a little bit more flexible because you don't have that public school schedule
The
to
drop
follow.
off and the
Yep.
Yep. So typically it's I get up in the morning, have my coffee, I get breakfast ready. When they wake up, we head out the door, finish chores, breakfast, school. And then after that, that's when I do my cheeses, my
Yeah, I don't.
my stuff like that. So our day is typically pretty packed.
I was gonna say you're pretty busy because you're usually I get lots of pictures of food she's making or cheese she's working on or what should I make out of this 2 gallons of milk or whatever.
No, as somebody that used to homeschool, I'm like, oh, look at all that science time she's got going on.
Exactly.
All that
And
home
math.
math with measurement and stuff like that. And it's like totally, the homeschooler in me is going, oh, this is kind of cool. You know?
It's awesome. And we did a mammal science unit with them. And it was just so fun that we could actually do the real life mammal stuff. One of the unit studies was milking a cow. And they'd set up a rubber glove and you'd pull on each of the fingers to act like a teat. And it's like, you know what? We have
go
the real
outside.
thing outside. So it is. It's not every child gets to do that when they
No.
homeschool. But then again, I mean, not every child lives how we live. So
Our kids graduate. Our kids, welding was part of their education. Fixing a car.
well, and we
real
didn't
life
have
skills.
home ec
Yeah.
in our whole
You
our high school.
didn't?
No.
Okay.
Dustin had wood shop and like auto and maybe welding, but there was nothing on the women's end.
Well, I mean, I had home ec in school,
Yeah.
but I didn't learn how to make cheese. Or,
No.
I mean,
No,
I
you
never-
learned how to make cookies.
Yep, and we did
Me?
learn how to can. We did
Really?
have, yeah, we
Oh, we
had a
didn't.
canning unit. Yep.
Oh, we
learned
didn't.
how to can. That's how I kind of got interested in it because my mom didn't. We talked about this just the other day. We were
Yeah.
talking about
Thursday on,
that.
on the last podcast.
Yeah, that my mom didn't can. My grandma did, but grandma, when us kids were out there, it was grandma and grandkids' time. It wasn't time to be messing around in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
I don't
and that
can
type
when
of
my
thing.
grandkids are around.
That was just a thing or whatever. But I had learned a
Interesting.
little bit in high school, and then I didn't can for quite some time. I didn't can until sometime in the early 2000s when I started.
Yeah,
Doing
nobody
that type
taught me
thing.
how to can, but
No, I'm
No,
pretty
I'm-
much self-taught.
I'm
yeah.
self-taught. Learned it from books.
I was given all the stuff my parents used, but they only used it for one season, and that's
that-
about it. Yeah, it's all self-taught, proper or not. It's all self-taught, and we're okay.
You're doing just
the
fine.
resources you have nowadays to learn how to can or freeze or
Yeah, and I think it's a lot easier, with the internet and everything. It's a lot.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
so much easier to
'Cause even-
find information that you need.
I mean, it's like, how did I learn to make sauerkraut? A YouTube channel. Kefir, kombucha, and all that stuff. I learned it off YouTube.
Do you do kefir?
I don't do kefir.
You don't
It's the
do
one thing
kefir.
I don't do.
Oh.
We can get you some grains.
Yeah, add it to my list.
That would
Nope.
probably be the simplest one.
Yeah, that's an
Kombucha, sauerkraut. I mean, it's a daily additive to our diet. I mean, we always have that
Yeah.
stuff. So
That's one thing I need to start another batch. I don't go through it as much now. At one time, I had 5 2-gallon containers on my kitchen
oh my
counter.
goodness.
stacked.
But I had 6 people at home,
Yeah.
and 5 of them were drinking it. It's like me. It's like Carol can muck with Cal, and I'll just come buy it.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes that's me with a garden. It's
Yeah.
easier for me to go to the farmer's market. I don't have the time or the
But you used to
passion.
garden.
I used to garden.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to garden, but I just can't find a good place out here
You
really
can't,
to have
you
a
can't
garden.
do it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Our
And
garden
that's-
isn't perfect.
I
but
figure why not let somebody who knows what
Knows
they're
what they're doing.
do it, just like me. I milk cows and people come to me and buy my milk. And I figure if everything comes to a halt, I'll take your vegetables and you can have some milk.
Exactly.
I can barter it off if I need to.
Yeah.
We do a lot of bartering.
I'm like, going, that's how I get my butter. Need an oil change. We need some butter.
Yep. Everyone asks if I sell butter. Nope. Don't sell butter. Can't sell butter.
Can't sell butter.
I can sell you the milk with the cream, and you can make
Yep,
your own.
exactly.
Yeah, you can make your own. Yes.
And actually, it's not hard making butter.
No.
I mean,
No.
even I
you
made,
could make it from store-bought cream too. Yeah. It's not
because
the
I think
same.
that so I'm sure that was a homeschool project along the road somewhere.
Probably.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know,
it
in 12
was.
years. I mean, I homeschooled for 12 years.
Anything else you would like to
I want
share?
to hear about the other. I hear little inklings about other things that you make on your homestead, like your
Oh yeah, my soaps and
yeah.
all those goodies.
So you make soap? Do you do
Soap. I have like a brown sugar scrub, so like an exfoliating scrub, chapstick, lotions. What else do I have?
I saw like some kind of magnesium.
Oh yeah, magnesium spray for sore muscles. Or our son has really bad growing pains, and so
Yep.
I'll spray it on his legs before bed.
Yep.
Gets him a little bit more sleep at night. And beard wash. My husband has a beard, so that's the one thing I was like trying to really figure out, and I finally nailed it. So that's the
We might need to talk.
Yep.
Okay, you dish soap.
Dish
Bar.
soap. That
So
is
talk about
still in
that.
the works.
Okay.
It works really, really well, and it scrubs awesome, but it leaves soap residue. So I have to adjust the fat level in it. So,
Okay.
I mean, it works. It's great.
Okay.
I use it, but I don't feel comfortable selling it because
Okay.
I would be mad if I bought it and had marks all over my stainless pans.
So, okay, let's talk about your soap for a minute. Do you use goat milk or do you use cow milk?
Goat milk.
Goat milk.
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't done the cow milk soap. I know you can, but
Yeah, I had someone who bought and made a whole line of. She bought cow milk from me, and then she made a whole line of soaps that went for that, and she had all Minnesota names for them.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
See, I don't have any fancy names, but
she played on that, and the soap was wonderful. I'm still using it. I have a lot of people who make soap out of our goat or cow milk, and they're always giving me samples of it, and I have enough soap to last
Last
me
forever.
for a very,
We'll
very
never
long
have
time.
to
Because
buy it.
a bar of
It does.
homemade soap lasts a long time.
Yeah.
if it's
It
properly
really does.
cured and
Yep,
dried.
if it is properly cured and I've never had one that hasn't sudsed well for me
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And I'm like, you know, if you have to pay $4 or $5 for that bar of soap, it lasts forever.
It does. It
It
really
does, yeah. A friend of mine who buys milk from me, she's from Appleton, Minnesota, and
Okay.
she sells soaps and lip balms and shampoo bars. And just at Christmas time now, she gave me a thank you gift, and it has a bar of goat soap, a bar of a shampoo bar.
Yep. Those ones we have too.
Yeah, and then she had a little tin of lip balm. Yep, and that was peppermint flavored, I believe. But that's Heather. She goes to farmers markets and stuff. Do you do farmers markets?
Not yet.
Okay.
So this is all new. I don't know if we'll be there next year, but for sure the following year.
All right. How can somebody find you if they were interested in some of your products?
So we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. The website is still in the works. You can message me on either of those pages. DF Farmstead is our name. So search for that. You'll be able to find that. And then you can see the products that we have. I kind of post updates of what we have. Right now it's pretty small because we don't have a huge following.
Okay.
But
And you're
So-
working on the website.
yes, website's in the works.
Okay.
I'm not very website savvy, so I'm outsourcing that, but it should be done soon.
Until then, you can also find Kelsey at twogalshomesteading.com/Kelsey, and you can learn a little bit more about her on that page. Let's see, anything else?
I don't know. What else do you got for me?
I don't know. Oh, it's something unique about Kelsey. She has a house pig. She not only has a house cow, she has a house pig, and her house pig actually lives in the house.
Yep, that she does.
So tell us a little bit about Truffle.
Truffle is, she's a pig.
She's a pig.
She's clean. She's not messy. Pigs don't stink. They don't have sweat glands, so they're not stinky. She's outside trained, so she goes out with the dogs, sleeps with our daughter most of the time, but is kennel trained, so she's in there. She gets into the pantry and anything you can think of. Doors need to be shut. Up until recently, she was able to get through the cat doors into the utility room where the litter box and cat food is. So that, mischievous little pig.
No, I know I've asked you this before, but she's not trained to open like the door to the refrigerator so that she get her own snacks.
She cannot, thankfully. I don't know what we would do if she did. She's not that big.
Okay.
And our fridge has a good seal. So
Awesome.
no, she's not. I don't. No,
No.
no, we love her. She's part of the family. She's our second house pig, but definitely not like the first. So.
Yep. You were telling us a little bit about
Yep.
that earlier. Any questions you can think of?
No, I cannot.
Jamie, as a townie who interested in cow milk, and you do sell your excess milk, right?
we do. We currently have a couple customers that come weekly. Obviously, Poppy only gives a certain amount. You can't just keep milking her. That is kind of our limit right now. We do have a wait list, so if and when we do get another cow,
Well,
obviously
you
that
may
wait
make some
list-
people happy by getting another cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bunch of people. I mean, I don't want to turn it into a huge dairy by any means.
What? You
We've
don't want to
never-
have 14 cows?
No.
What?
I want to keep it simple. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I say that, but I truly do mean it. Poppy was the first, obviously our first cow, and we didn't want to expand, but with the demand out by us, 2 cows would be sufficient.
Okay.
So
Well, they're kind of like potato chips.
They
You
kinda
can't really-
that's why we don't eat potato chips very much.
Oh, other than that, I'm trying to just think of something else to ask you, but I'm coming up with a blank. I've got my questions answered, and I think Jamie is.
I'm along for the ride.
Jamie's
tonight.
question list.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride tonight.
She just likes her raw milk.
Yeah, I like my raw milk. I have no well, of course, I live in a place you can't have livestock.
Mm-hmm.
You're like limited to like 3 rabbits and 3 dogs and
No chickens in your
no
town.
chickens.
But you can have rabbits.
You can have rabbits, but you're limited to 3
Rabbits don't make a lot of noise.
No.
They do.
Do you have rabbits on your?
No.
You don't have rabbits. Okay.
They scream though.
Well, only if they're in trouble. Madison's rabbits are completely quiet.
I don't know. We had a pet rabbit once.
Rabbits are very tasty.
I don't know if I could do that. I have a friend
They
who
are-
homesteads in Missouri, and that's what they do too.
Okay. No, well, we've had rabbits since 2004.
Yeah.
And I remember when we told Madison we had to butcher them because they were her rabbits, and we're like, we're going to have to
Oh,
butcher some.
yes.
If you're going to keep them, they have to have a purpose. And yeah, she was like,
Do you guys still
she-
have rabbits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And she was like, I can't do that or whatever. And then she had rabbit. We served rabbit.
Yep.
And she said, what's really sad? That rabbit tastes so good.
That sounds a lot
And
like ours.
we served rabbit at her graduation per her request from high school. So yeah, she loves her rabbits, but she also loves rabbit. It's a good food. Good food, cheap, easy to raise. A lot of people are very much like, but they're cute and fuzzy. Rabbits can be very mean too.
They can be.
Anyway,
they can be destructive from a gardener's point of view.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think we've covered what we want to. We want to thank Kelsey for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
And
Welcome to join us anytime you want.
Okay.
yes, we'll probably have you back, and we'll maybe
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about cheese making or
Yeah,
something like
absolutely.
that, since you are an expert.
I am not
compared
an
to the-
expert, but
compared to the other 2 that are sitting
Yeah.
at this table, you are an expert.
Yeah, it's good. Well, Carol's done more than I've done, and so it actually today, Cultures for Health had their starters all on sale this weekend.
oh, did they?
Yep, 40% off. Ends
Nice.
tonight at midnight. If you have a few hours yet, maybe I don't know. I really don't know what time it is. And so I went in and bought some. Going, okay, what did we use to make that feta? And so I went in and bought a couple things, and
And they have pretty good sales off and on.
I know where I can get some milk to make some.
Yeah, I think you got a source somewhere. Yeah.
At least you don't have to drive 2 hours.
No, it's like 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us for our little homestead cow talk.
Yeah.
We'd like to give a special thank you to picosupply.com for sponsoring our podcast. So until next time.
Put some kefir on it.
Thank you for listening to the Homestead Podcast's latest episode. Your hosts, Carol Radke and Jamie Kappas, are 2 Gals Homesteading. To learn more, go to 2galshomesteading.com or the 2 Gals Homesteading Facebook page at facebook.com/2galshomesteading. Editing, audio production, and marketing of the Homestead Podcast is the responsibility of Media Transx. The Homestead Podcast is an audio product of Media Transx, a limited liability company based in Minnesota, USA.